Picture this, a white void. You've seen it in many videos before, but let's focus on it for just a second. Why does it exist? Well, typically, it's an absence of background. It fills the screen, unlike darkness, which just looks like your screen is off. And it lets you focus on a singular object. And so another question arises, why am I here? I now ask you to please open this video's channel page. I promise this is relevant. See it? Now, depending on when you're watching this, the video count, the banner, the profile picture, the subscriber count, and the description might vary. They've changed before and will probably change again. But no matter when you're watching this, there will always be exactly 4 constants. The channel name Scarix, these 2 playlists with years in them, a secondary channel, and this video. Found them? Good. You can come back now. Thanks for playing along. Now, if you go through these playlists, you'll find a total of 107 videos, some public, and some that used to be public. Many of these videos are random at best and cryptic at worst, but an interesting picture forms if you put them all together. In this video, I'm going to explain these 4 elements. I'm going to explain what all these videos were and why they kept disappearing, why a second channel arose, why this video was necessary, and who exactly I am. Now, I don't plan on stopping the creation of confusing or cryptic videos, but over the course of the next few minutes, I'll give you some keys to decode and understand future ones if you ever feel compelled to, of course. And since I will share some potentially vulnerable details about my personal life, I've included a trigger warning in the description. Go check it out if there's a risk it might be relevant to you. Let's start with the last of those 4 questions. Who am I? My name is Michaela Mayer, but you can call me Scarix. I'm an artist and editor who's been making videos since I was a kid. They weren't good until recently. I did it all on my crappy phone, but I loved doing it. I loved it so much, in fact, that in 2018, I created a YouTube channel. Exactly a year later, I started uploading, which brings us to the second question. What were these videos? It started with this, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate anime opening, open parentheses, fan-made montage, close parentheses. The next few videos consisted of shitposts and edited stream clips of current Minecraft YouTuber Fundy, back when his community was small and I was a prominent part of it. His career began on DLive, a platform nowadays overrun by Nazis, but back then a naive alternative to Twitch, before we realized how awful crypto was. God, this is embarrassing. The next streamer, whose community I found myself attached to, was the current owner and face of Stray TCG, who was also streaming on DLive at the time, and whom I still have close ties with. This was reflected in various videos editing his VODs. I was also a fan of PewDiePie, but this is only reflected in a tiny number of shitposts. Back to Fundy. A while after leaving DLive, he began uploading Minecraft videos, and one of his first successes featured this item called the Solmutita Brebitul Kachikor Chapatiti Pie Cake. That kills you if you eat it. I thought it was funny, and wrote a comment about how one might sell this toxic food. Then, I spent about 30 minutes turning that comment into an unlisted shitpost and linked it in that same comment section, where Fundy decided to pin it. Shortly after, this video blew up, Fundy became a hugely successful Minecraft YouTuber, and I was hit with a wave of people finding that pinned comment and subscribing to my channel. So to a 15-year-old who just wanted to make funny shit posts and videos for a tiny group of online friends, the sudden influx of dozens turned hundreds turned thousands of people was overwhelming and exciting. It presented to this young, impressionable mind the idea that a large amount of strangers could enjoy the stupid things I'd been making as a hobby, accidentally making a dream of mine come true in the process. A thing that I enjoyed making for years before uploading was mashups, or as people savvier than I might call them, AMVs. I would take music and combine it with a visual and whapam, a new experience of senses that had been created by my hand. It felt like magic. My favorite format had always been anime openings, specifically creating fake ones. That was my first ever video, and it would remain a staple of my channel for a while. I also threw together a fake trailer for the pie cake video using iMovie's built-in trailer feature. God, this is embarrassing. This is also a good moment to address my avatar. The very first profile picture I'd ever used was a chess piece, specifically a knight. But then I decided to grab an iPad and drew an avatar, a blue reptile with red hair and a bandana. Then, in late 2019, I drew myself a different one, a guy in a hoodie with bags under the eyes and frankly stupid hair. I uploaded a video of my drawing process and actually stuck with this for about a year. More mashups and shitposts later, we can also see me draw some alternative versions of it. We'll get back to that. After barely over a year of uploading, and about 6 months after that one video, I had hit 1,000 subscribers. This coincided with me getting my laptop that my parents bought me for my high school studies. The video you're currently watching was made on this very laptop. It's getting old and starting to show its age, but still holding on. So it's at this point, with better tools at my disposal, that I began experimenting with gaming. Around that time, I also did a voice reveal.
Hear me?
Yes, I can. Oh my god, Scarrick's voice reveal.
Yeah, this is the voice you'll hear every time I play with you now.
Hell yeah. Now every time you chat something, this is what I'm gonna think of.
Is my accent weird?
Yes, why do you have a British accent?
Okay, I'm gonna go back to typing for now.
I'm gonna go back to typing for now. It's because I had just barely learned English and my teachers had that accent. That's right, motherfuckers, I'm not a native speaker. I'm from filthy Europe, or as I put it in my channel intro a few videos later.
Wow, nice accent. Thank you, I got it from here, and here, and here. My videos aren't usually fast-paced like this, but YouTube says this has to be less than a minute long. Here's what I've done so far. Anime openings, edits, trailers, edits, memes, drawings, edits, Minecraft videos, I love Minecraft, edits, and unboxings on Smash Bros, and complaining about my username coincidentally being a beauty product. And edits.
This
This kid just summarized everything better than me. Why do I fucking bother? This is also when I'd started trying my hand at composing, and created my second channel, back then called Scarrick's OST. I began uploading music there, which I actually have continued to this day. I also kept slowly developing my art skills. Then, I made a video badly summarizing the story with Fundy. Yeah, that's right, bitch, two can play at that game. And then, the Q&A. To celebrate the 2,000 subscriber milestone, I announced a Q&A in which I'd answer every question posted to me in the comments. And then I proceeded to do exactly that, but the most important part is not the questions or my answers. In these videos, alongside myself, were 3 alter egos. I did not say it at the time, but they were meant to reflect my various mental issues I was struggling with. Pet represented my depression, my general apathy, the results of the physical and emotional abuse I was suffering at the time, and the kind of hopeless person it had turned me into. Evil Scarix was a representation of parts of myself I shunned. My intrusive thoughts, my general assholery at the time, my repressed wishes, my sadistic and egocentric impulses. Anti-Scarix embodied my self-hatred, my inner critic, my endless introspecting, and what I now know to be dysphoria. I don't remember how much thought I put into all of it, or whether it was wise to display all these things to a public like this, but I do remember that it was intentional, that I wanted to be authentic in any way I could. I wasn't good at expressing my feelings at the time, especially since I was in denial about some of the more severe things, but I suddenly had all these people willing to have an exchange with me, so I opened up in the safest way I could think of. Remember these 3 characters and what they represent. They will come up later. My next few videos were derivatives of various things. I had finally started editing on my laptop, and R.I.P. Charles was the first thing I made on it. The phone days were finally over. I continued to draw out shitposts, tried my hand at reviewing Among Us, and then uploaded a Minecraft tournament taking place in the then existing Aaron Robert SMP. The reason for this tournament was explained a few videos later in a chronicle of the SMP's history up until that point. Long story short, I was sad that the server was no longer active, and tried, and failed, to get people back by organizing that event. After some top-tier storytelling, I returned to the server and started a Minecraft series. Why are we talking about any of this? Because of episode 2. You see, this video contains an ARG. Letters and symbols would mysteriously appear for short periods of time. In the video, I announced that
I have hidden a secret message. You'll have to work very hard to discover what it is.
Showed a clip of me putting a book inside a chest in an unknown location, gave a speech that ended with,
But remember, there's always more than meets the eye.
And urged people to solve this treasure hunt. I believe some tried, but to this day, no one has solved it. So here's the solution. First, in the description you'd find this sequence, and in the comments was the following. I'll do a video explaining everything when/if someone finds the secret. Find the book with this. Put the final word through the code and put it into the link. Followed by a long string of keys to decipher text. Putting the description text as a YouTube URL would bring you to a now unwatchable video. It was a rickroll, I know, very funny. But finding the symbols hidden in the video would take you to a now deleted page, with clues that yielded a URL that led to this unlisted video with a negative image and Morse code. Translation: red herring. The description says, the backside of the pentagon, the magic number's last word will unlock the book's location. The image in the video slowly zooms in towards what looks like a pentagon. Inverting it reveals that this is a Harry Potter themed card of Albus Dumbledore. One that, through thorough research, one could find the backside of, which looks like this. The magic number here refers to the number of characters in a YouTube URL, as indicated in the original video. The 11th to last word on the back of the card, achievement, contains 11 characters, and putting it through the key in the comments, a URL is produced which brings you to this video titled The Chamber, displaying coordinates. The Minecraft server IP was displayed in the end credits of the original video. Logging on and traveling to the coordinates would lead you to nothing. Going back to that chamber video, the description says, psych, it's actually at these coordinates. I told you to always look further than meets the eye. Going to said coordinates, you'd find the chamber and the book, which simply said, congratulations on finding this, but this is not the secret you are looking for. Pay closer attention to the clues in the video itself. Merry Christmas. That's right, the actual secret was in plain sight all along. In the middle of the video, I give a personal, heartfelt speech, and taking the first word of each sentence gives us, I might be trans. That's right, just a few days before uploading this video, I had realized it wasn't normal cis guy stuff to want to be a girl forever. Basically, I was watching a one-topic video covering the subreddit Egg IRL and wrote the following comment. Either trans people need to stop being so relatable, or I need to start questioning my identity. Believe it or not, I wrote this as a joke. It took me several minutes of thinking in bed until I realized. So basically, as I was making this video, I was going through an identity crisis and didn't know who to talk to about it. I was repressed, depressed, and confessed in the most cryptic way I could think of. I didn't believe anyone would find it anyway, and mostly just did it to get it off my chest. But this identity crisis didn't stop here. It would eventually change everything. 2 shitposts later, I made a New Year's video titled It's Over, New Year, New Me. Remember, most of what I've told you so far happened in 2020, one of the longest years of my life, and a year famous for being awful and chaotic for everyone who lived through it. The video ends with me recreating the avatar to be a little more mature with slightly more feminine eyes, and crucially, changing the iconography of the channel to include anti-Scarix, the embodiment of my self-analysis and dysphoria, and a general theme of mirror images. Subtle, I know. I also wrote the following in the comments. It is now canon that my character's hair grows longer as time goes by. On an unrelated note, I had just decided to grow my hair out. Jumping forward yet again, my avatar changed once more. This time to a teal reptile, a snake to be precise, with light blue grown hair. I continued to evolve this as time went by into a more feminine cartoon version. At this point, I knew who I was. I'd settled into my new identity, but I was still deeply closeted and would remain so for a while. Only a handful of my online friends knew about my gender at this time. I continued to make many videos, each more frivolous than the last. I began to feel restricted. I noticed that I hit a limit of how far I could go in my creation with the skills I had. I looked back and resented the baggage and legacy that came with the older, worse videos with unpleasant representation of myself, and I resented the fact that I still couldn't do the things I wanted or present the way I felt. At this point, these things were still very sensitive to me, and I felt terrified to have a public watching me as I struggled to find my footing. So, I decided that I needed to take a break. I needed a clean slate to purge my online presence as much as possible, leave for a while, and return only when I felt that I was truly ready. So, Christmas 2021, I uploaded Merry Christmas. The video began normally, announcing big projects, before suddenly my channel was replaced by an ominous octogram symbol and my videos being deleted. Of course they weren't, they simply got unlisted and put aside into a playlist. The video contained cryptic and scary texts along with these runes and some very well hidden characters that, of course, would give you a link. This time it was an Imgur link to an image. The image contains a one-eyed character that wears an octogram as well as the number 17 trillion. It also contains 11 runes and 11 characters for a YouTube URL, which brings you to a video titled Beware, with Morse code translating to the word timelines. The rules correspond to the characters, and through them you can translate the untranslated runes in the video. The character, the numbers, the runes, and the word timelines are surprisingly enough not directly connected to what's actually happening, but are instead part of a separate secret project I've been teasing here and there. The implication being that in order to bring myself closer to creating said project, the channel had to be terminated. However, a few months later, Russia invaded Ukraine, and I felt shocked and compelled enough to make a video on it. This video forced me back into the mood to make more, so I did an April Fool's shitpost, edited a big Minecraft event I was part of into a video, and then I uploaded Octogram PXI 10/5/2021. This is a terrible video. I don't know what I was thinking when I made it. The comments contain a Greek sentence that gives a location name that can be traced. Look, I'll skip this one if you'll allow me. I know I'm supposed to explain everything, but this one really sucks. Long story short, it ends with a string of text with names and vague warnings which got retconned by a later thing we're gonna talk about, so yeah. Now here's where things get more interesting. On Halloween 2022, I uploaded a video titled We've Been Here Before, with a cryptic description and a comment with a riddle. The video itself begins with this, which eagle-eyed viewers would recognize as the boot-up screen from my laptop. The person whose perspective we are following inputs the correct password, and the desktop becomes visible. A folder is opened which contains the following: high-effort videos, pics of just me, open parentheses, I am self-centered, close parentheses, plans for world domination, shopping list for world domination, cute snack image for world domination, Tears of the Kingdom fanfiction, and a top secret folder that, when opened, has 2 cheeky conspiracy jokes, one folder that says what I'm gonna look like in 2024, and Halloween 2022, which contains this. A text-based monologue underscored by a piano song by Alexander Nakarada. The full text isn't important, but I ask you to remember this sentence. You might wonder what I've been up to, and I promise your questions will be answered. We'll get back to it later. The video ends with the screen turning off while the music continues and fades out. After a Smash Bros tournament, we arrive to an extremely important video. What happened on Christmas Eve? It tells the in-universe story of how the channel's videos had been deleted exactly 1 year prior. In the story, narrated by my friend StrayTCG, a snake named Scarix gets wounded, kidnapped, and imprisoned by a certain trio we've seen before. They tie Scarix up in a green vat, the reflection deletes my videos, and Scarix falls unconscious. In other words, my mental issues, but mostly my self-hatred and dysphoria, pushed me towards a cocoon while hiding my painful past. Again, unsubtle, I know, but this was the best way I found to convey these feelings. But a few months later, on the channel's 5th birthday, and as the 100th video in the playlist, I uploaded See Ya. In this video, I talked about my intentions to go on a hiatus, about how this video would be the last in a long time, and badly summarized some things you've heard already. But importantly, I said this. I'm going to explain my reasons for actually taking a break later. I will do that, I promise. And I quickly mentioned that I would continue uploading smaller things on my secondary channel, now renamed Small Scarix. Which brings us to the second playlist, titled The Interim. And the first video is titled I've Been Here Before. It has a cryptic description and comment, and features sounds of someone opening a computer, typing, clicking, and then begins a text-based monologue underscored by a piano song by Alexander Nakarada. This video was uploaded on the 14th of March 2024, exactly 500 days after its counterpart, and putting these videos together reveals that it was in fact a dialogue. This dialogue reveals or confirms a few things. The person whose perspective we were following in the 2022 video was in fact me, from the future, returning to that earlier point in time to linger and reminisce, which past me finds dangerous. The titles clearly reveal that this isn't the first time I've done this, and putting the descriptions and comments together reveals the following. You keep coming back. Yes, I do. How many times have we done this? A dozen or so? I've lost count. Halloween riddle. I am always late without exception. My one weakness is your gaze and utterance. I cannot be eliminated, though I can be ignored. Above all, I require one death and one birth. What am I? To be completely honest, that riddle is a little on the nose and cheeky, and the answer isn't some world-changing truth or anything. You were just obsessed back then. In some ways, I still am. In any case, I do wonder, how did you know I'd keep coming back? Was it a coincidence? A lucky guess? Or did you just predict what you'd become that accurately? I have a weird relationship with you. I miss you, yet I never want to see you again. I keep reading the words you sent my way, and I keep answering them, always with these same words. It just feels so crazy how different we are, yet how similar I've remained. I remember expecting that I'd be so different, but yeah. I know she's looking at us right now. Well, not right now, but you know what I mean. Hey, future us, if you remembered to check up on us, thanks. I hope you've managed all the stuff going on. Gosh, remember the way you were when you were me? I sure remember how we used to be when we made that first message. Right now I'm in the midst of preparing for a bunch of stuff. It feels like everything is building up, like all of it is about to change. I'm preparing for you. Anyway, I look forward to being you. I assume you've broken out by now? How does the air feel on your skin? Do you finally have a reflection? Is it pretty? If you ever feel like you're in a dark place again, you can come back. You'll see the two of us, and we can come for you. In any case, I don't want to put too much pressure on you, but I hope you remember to send that final message. It'd mean a lot. See you on day 1000. The next interim video is an April Fool's gag about coming out. After that, a 9-minute piano song, the Lamia Sonata, 2nd edition. The next two videos were short films to illustrate and excise a certain low point or headspace I was in. The first one, titled I Don't Know, depicts task paralysis and anxiety. The second, titled I Need Help, depicts depression and feelings of worthlessness. On a related note, I recently discovered I had bipolar. After that, I officially do an actual coming out video, and then we arrive to And We'll Be Here Again. The first video uploaded on the main channel in years, on July 27th, 2025, exactly 1000 days after the Halloween 2022 video. It depicts a younger me sitting down and opening a computer, which from a later shot can be identified as my laptop, and returning to that same video once again. And as the day 500 text arrives on screen, we're meant to understand that this dialogue has already happened, and that I am now rewatching both of them ad infinitum. Once the dialogue ends, we're shown that a substantial amount of time has gone by, and that I've changed a lot. I slowly get up as I realize that the screen is off, and that I can no longer return to that same video again. Essentially, I'd been stuck in the past, and afraid to head back out and make new things again. Once that wake-up call happens, I adjust my hair, and allow myself to change styles, a symbolic representation of my growth as an artist that had been happening during those 1000 days. Finally, I leave those old memories behind for good, as I walk into the white void I now find myself in, and announce the date of my return to making videos on this channel. At the end of the video, the chamber I am locked in begins to crack and a web address pops up on the screen, www.scarix.net. Going to this website, one would find the following text: Under construction, check back February 4th, 2026, along with this image. Of course, someone with keen eyes might notice this barely visible text in the image. Nothing to find here. Opening it in an image editor and bumping up the luminosity would reveal that this image contained a QR code, but that it was partially obscured by me, or so it seemed. In reality, the QR code was overlaid on top of the drawing, but its incredibly faint trace barely affected the pixels underneath. To retrieve the bits of the code I was hiding, you needed to bump up the saturation, showing you the bluer parts. But the white contour and my hair still hid parts of the code. Those could be shown by saturating and turning down the luminosity, and by isolating the blue channel and adjusting the brightness and contrast respectively. Scanning the QR code would take you to an unlisted video congratulating you for solving the puzzle and offering an opportunity to add an Easter egg into this video. To this day, no one has solved this. And now that I'm officially back and will start uploading videos again, there's one more thing I need to tell you. As you've seen, my videos are often confusing, disorienting, and cryptic on purpose. They're intentionally designed to be as rewarding as possible if you engage with them, by paying attention or by taking in the vibes. You see, I have a rule when it comes to making stuff for public viewing. Respect the audience's intelligence. You're smarter than you get credit for, and I'm not gonna hold your hand. For this reason, there will never be another explanation video on this channel. This one will forever remain public, but it will be the only one of its kind. The keys and the frameworks you need are all here. I'm also declaring here and now that I will never unlist videos and do a clean slate ever again. The previous times were practice runs. This one is for real. Finally, to you watching, I want you to know how infinitely grateful I am. Other people enjoying my art is basically what gives my life purpose, so thank you. And with that, I think it's time I finally exit this void. I have 3 years worth of ideas to put in motion. The prologue is over, and it's time to write the first chapter. Welcome to the other side.